Morning. Jeff Lee, Chief of Growing Operations here in Avon. Today we want to talk a little bit about clematis program. We'll open up with two of our fall bloomers. This is a regular paniculata and this is Sweet Summer Love. Both of them are designed to bloom in the fall. What we like to do with the clematis is we'll start growing them. We do trim them back when they get 4 to 6 inches long to try and beef up the base so they stay nice and full. We put the trellises in, and then we run the plants up the trellis. Plants are wrapped around the trellis, so it gives you a nice full effect. We will come in and do 1 or 2 trims on them with paniculata. Do a lot of work just to keep them this way. You can see here there's plenty of flowers, plenty of bloom. Be a nice package for this time of year as far as flower. The Raymond Evison program is a program that we started a number of years ago. It's a premium clematis collection. Raymond does a lot of the breeding. Those plants are designed to bloom from the bottom all the way up to the top. They're already planted in pots like this. Any of the carryover plants that you see in here, we will come through in the winter. We cut them back the way they're recommended. We take the trellises out. If the trellises are still good, we use them. If there's any issues with trellises, we just go through and replace them. We will turn heat up in this structure somewhere around the 1st of March. It's a slow turn up, and then what we try and do is have these flowers in bud and bloom, green bud and bloom for Mother's Day. Typically they're starting to show a little bit of color and they're a nice full plant. So this is a newer program in the clematis that we tried this year. Right now these obviously need trim back. We just let them go for the summer. But the objective was this, is they have this pot that you see here, a little more decorative. These are more of a trailing ground cover type. You can train them to grow up, but the concept here is to have a nice full pot, a little bit of hangover like what you see here on these. 2 colors is purple and then there's a light blue if you can see it behind me. But that's what the objective was. So we'll have these available for next spring. But this is, like I said, it's a new program. Just wanted to see, everyone thinks clematis is strictly a climber. A lot of clematis can be used not only as a ground cover, but also there are some types out there that are shrub form as well. But this is one of the new ideas we had. Should be a really nice plant next year. So a couple of other things with the clematis. Actually, it's, you want to be technical, it's pronounced clematis, but on all the Raymond Evison varieties we have this pot wrap, and once you pull this off it gives you all the growing instructions on the back side. So it gives you a nice package. I mean, this is bloomed out so it looks a little spent, but it gives you an idea of what it's going to look like in the spring, except for this would be fresh foliage and nice and full flowers. This little one here, this is part of this, just a little 6-inch decorative blue pot, smaller trellis, and it's designed basically to fill it up just like the other ones. This is one of those things you can put at the end of by your cash registers and be good for an impulse buy if someone goes by. Typically in the spring the flowers are a lot bigger. Obviously with the heat of the summer, flowers are a little smaller. Like I said, this is what we really want to see, is a nice full trellis, and a few flowers and some green buds. So we came back into the shrub section here this morning and want to talk a little bit about some of the newer varieties of Sambucus we're growing. They have Black Tower and laced up here. Both of these are columnar. The biggest difference you're going to see between the two is your tower is going to have a lot bigger leaf, has relatively good dark foliage, and laced up is more of a narrower leaf, like a lace leaf Japanese maple. Over the years we've been asked if they produce fruit. If you can look close here, blow the video up, you can see we've actually got some fruit here on the laced up. Both of them I've seen fruit on. Haven't eaten them myself to say, but they do produce some fruit. Main claim to fame on both of these is a nice tight upright habit. If you look off to the right here, my right, you'll see how tall these plants get. So we wanted to talk a little bit about what we do in the spring. We will come in the spring and cut these back so they don't look quite so leggy, so that'll give you a fuller plant. If we didn't cut these back in the spring, they would keep growing up here, and then this would become a lot thinner at the base. So we will come back and trim these back in the spring. So you will see that in the spring on the taller ones. On the varieties, or on the plants that look like this, we probably won't do much of anything to it. So just keep that in mind with these particular varieties. So while we're in the shrub section today, I thought we'd go back to one of the old tried and trues. This is our crop of Vickery, just from Vickery. It's been around for a long time. It actually gives you good color season round. It also will, it's good for pollination when it's in bloom, which is sometime back in June. We do go through and trim these a number of different times throughout the course of the year. That way it gives you this nice, tight, compact plant. It's not real loose and floppy. These are pretty much finished, slightly oversized for spring, but it gives you a nice value for your dollar.